Hey everyone, welcome to this Gravity Community Edition demo. Just from some context for those of you who are not already familiar with Gravity, Gravity allows you to package your Kubernetes application into a single file so that you can then install it across a cluster of Linux machines. You can think of this file as a Kubernetes virtual appliance or a cluster snapshot, so all the dependencies needed to make your application run are included, including Kubernetes, your container registries, the installer, etc. So all you need to install your Kubernetes application are machines running a Linux OS. And it will even run on air-gapped clusters without internet access since there are no outside dependencies needed. So for this demo, I'm just going to run through the quickstart guide, which can be found online in the Gravity docs right here. So after this or during this, you can run through it yourself. So let's begin. For this example, we are going to be using a sample application called Mattermost, which is a chat application much like Slack, but it can be more easily packaged and deployed on premises. So you can see I have my Docker image of Mattermost here. And the only Gravity-specific thing I need to create is what we call the application manifest, which is a YAML file that describes how I want the package to look and how the application will be installed for the end user. So you can see the details of this file here. There's some metadata included about the application. Then I define some of the endpoints to access the application once it's installed. The section here describes the type of clusters I want to present to the end user installing the application. So in this case, I've included an option for 1, 2, or 3 node clusters. You could create different flavors of plans or packages that you can show to the end user. In this next section, I've defined the resources that I need to install the application. So Gravity will do a pre-flight check on the infrastructure to make sure that these resources are available on the machines before installation. In this case, I just required a minimum of 2 CPUs and 2 gigabytes of RAM. So then you can add Kubernetes jobs that you wanted to run as part of the installation. In this case, these are just examples. Okay, so to build the image, I need to use our Tela tool. In this example, I have version 5.4.6, and I just run the Tela build command and tell Tela which what I want the resulting file to be named, and where the application manifest can be found so that it knows what to do. And then it will just start building the image. For purposes of this demo, I'll speed this up a bit, but you can see that Tela is finding all the dependencies and packaging them into a single snapshot. In this example, we told Tela to use a Helm chart that has defined what is needed for the Kubernetes applications. So that took about a minute in real time, and now I have a single snapshot of a Kubernetes cluster that I can install anywhere. So it's as easy as taking this file and I can SCP to another machine, and then we'll SSH into that machine and begin the installation process. So I just have to unpack the tarball, and then I'll run the Gravity install command. There are also 2 mandatory flags here. I have to set the IP address that the other nodes in the cluster can see, and then I'll set a secret token so that they can join the cluster securely. And that's about it. So now Gravity is running through the installation process. This usually takes a few minutes, so I'll speed it up for the purposes of this demo. But you can see some of the steps Gravity is performing here. It's running pre-flight checks, configuring packages, bootstrapping the node, and installing all the software needed to run the Kubernetes application. So you can see that took about 5 minutes, and once that's done, we can add a user to log into Gravity, the web application. So you'll see once I add the user, it prints a URL, and we can just paste that into our browser. For the demo, we haven't set up any TLS certificates, but you would obviously want to do that in production. But you can see we just type in the password and then click on the endpoint, and you can see that Mattermost is up and running. So pretty simple. We can also see through the web app the servers that we installed Gravity on, and we can even add new servers to the cluster through the web app. So you can see here it gives me one option, which was the only option I listed in the application manifest. So we just have to click on that, and then it will give you a command to run on any additional servers that you want to join the cluster. So I just copy this command and run it on a new machine. So let's do that. So I'll go back to my terminal, exit the K1 virtual machine, and then I'll SSH into another one I called K2. and then we'll run the command and you'll see the installation process starting on K2. So if we go back to the Gravity web application, you can now see that there's a new node waiting to join. So I just have to specify the IP address of the new node and then start the installation process on that node. You can also see that the system status is showing something is happening, and if we click on that, you'll see the new node is being added. So that's the other nice thing about Gravity, is that every operational task is logged and recorded for compliance purposes or knowledge sharing, what have you. So while that is happening, that'll take a few minutes. I'll show you another way to add a server through the terminal. So I'll copy this snapshot to a new machine called K3, and then I'll SSH into that machine and unpack the tarball. And then we can just run a Gravity join command with the IP address that it's looking for, it should look for. Its available IP address, and then the secret token that we created earlier, and this node should then join the cluster. So let's, while that's going on, let's go back to see how our K2 node is doing. Looks like it's done, and that took about 3 minutes to join the cluster. And we can now see it has shown up here in the web application. And okay, let's see how K3 is coming along. Looks like it has connected to the cluster as well and started the installation process. And we can see that happening in the web application as well. And so that's really that easy to just get a Kubernetes cluster up and running and join some other nodes. And then you have a highly available Mattermost application running. So I guess I'll just conclude by taking a quick tour through some of the other Gravity features here. You can see that we aggregate all the logs across the cluster. There's also a Grafana dashboard included, which you can customize as you see fit. In this example, we have some basic performance indicators across the cluster and nodes. And then we also have all the Kubernetes components here, so the nodes, pods, and services. And then finally, we have all the configuration files if you wanted to edit them through the web application here. There's one more thing that's kind of neat. You can also easily access all the nodes from the web application via SSH. So you just click here, and now you have a shell into those different nodes. So I think that's about it for this brief demo. You're obviously welcome to download and play with Gravity yourself. It's available online. You can download it from our website, and the Gravity repo on GitHub is open sourced, so you can go through there and look at any of the code. And then finally, you could reach out to us if you have any questions. We have a discourse forum at community.gravitational.com, or you could reach out directly through our contact form. Have a great day.